Flamin Hot is an amazing film. However, there is something that's worth bearing in mind, and I'll talk about that in a moment. This was released in 2023. It's directed by Eva Longoria, written by Linda Yvette Chávez and Lewis Collick, based on A Boy, a Burrito, and a Cookie from Janitor to Executive by Richard Montañez. And we have a cast including Jesse Garcia as Montañez, and it's about the story of how he allegedly created Flaming Hot Cheetos, which I have to say I don't think I've ever had. I think I've had what's its equivalent, and I'm not a fan. I don't do well with heat with that kind of food, but certainly I absolutely love the film. I will talk more about the reasons why, the specifics in a moment, but I want to mention something first of all, and I didn't know this going into it, as I didn't do any real research beforehand, but I want to mention this first of all. So if you don't want to know something that might affect your viewing experience, I will just say check out the film. It's really brilliant, and then come back and share your thoughts. So I will now mention what this thing is, as I do think it maybe changes things slightly. My first concern was when Wikipedia said it's based on the memoir by Montañez, and I quote, who claims to have invented Flaming Hot Cheetos. And I thought, claims to? So I went over to the Wikipedia page for Flaming Hot Cheetos, well, the Cheetos Wikipedia page, and it has a Flaming Hot Cheetos section, and there are quotes that say that Montañez was not directly involved with the testing of Flaming Hot Cheetos. They do not credit him with the creation of Flaming Hot Cheetos. So that's interesting. Do with that information what you will. How much of a say did he have? Did he help invent them? Is he taking credit for something he didn't have a hand in? I have no idea. But it kind of affects the enjoyment of the film. But that aside, it's still a beautiful story with a really uplifting message, because he's working at Frito-Lay as a janitor, and then he starts to look at the fact that he realizes there's a gap in the market for that kind of spicy flavor, and it's about the creation and pitching this, and then of course everything kind of really escalating. I don't think we have Cheetos here a lot. We do have Cheetos, but they're not as commonly available as many other brands. But from what I've heard, they are very, very, very popular in the States. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is just based on pop culture and YouTube and things. And they do become really, really massive. And that's so exciting to see. And the main focus of the film is the fact that Martinez was there working as a janitor. But as the film says, there's no such thing as just a janitor. He had so much more to offer. He was a creative individual. He had these big ideas, these big dreams, and he was able to pitch these dreams to the right people, and ultimately they created this wonderful product. And the message there, of course, is that, well, there are a couple. One, dream big. Two, don't look down on people who may be doing a job that you don't necessarily think is, I don't want to say as important, but that is generally the way people often, many people, not all, look at people like janitors and cleaners and factory workers as if that's their job and that's all they're destined to be. But there are so many more layers to people, and people have so much more to offer. Even if you're high up in a company, you probably have more to offer than your job allows you to, unless you're willing to take big steps, as we see in this film. And I think that that's a really great message, that no matter who you are, no matter what your walk of life is, if you have a dream and you have this idea, you never know what could come of it. And that's not just a message for people who are maybe further down the corporate ladder, also a message for people higher up, that they should give everybody a chance regardless of where they are, because you never know where the next golden idea is going to come from. So I think there are some great messages across the board, and it is in that regard a really uplifting, really inspirational film. And I really felt Montañez's passion and drive. It really came across in the film. It's quite a fun film. We have some really likable characters. There was one moment that was so emotional that I started to cry, which I wasn't expecting from a film about how they created Flaming Hot Cheetos. So I found it to be a really delightful experience. It was a lot of fun, very educational in one regard, and then I learned what I learned about how it might not be accurate. So that's worth bearing in mind. I think I would have enjoyed it less had I known that. But at the same time, it would have been a a more educational experience, as I would have been more aware to take things with a pinch of salt. Whereas when I was watching it, I was believing that that's exactly how everything played out, and I feel a little cheated. So on the one hand, I don't think it will be quite as good an experience if you have the information that it might not be accurate, but I think it will be a more beneficial experience because you won't feel cheated by the end of it. So that's just worth bearing in mind. But in general, I still recommend it. I think Flamin Hot is an uplifting, inspirational film. It's a lot of fun, really fascinating, and ultimately one that I really thoroughly enjoyed. And I will now tell you the bit that made me cry. It's right at the end of the film, and Montañez finds out that he gets a job offer. He gets his own office with his name on the door, and he goes up to it, and everybody starts shouting his name and applauding him and basically saying, well done for going for your dreams, because look at what you've achieved. And what I loved about that as well is that it was the factory workers and the corporate employees all together, all cheering him on. And it was just such a... I'm welling up thinking of it now. It's a beautiful, beautiful scene, and I can't even imagine what that felt like. And then I learned that this is allegedly not how things went down. So that was a bit unfortunate, but it's still an enjoyable film. So I'd say take it with a pinch of salt. If anybody does have any more concrete information about how Flamin Hot Cheetos were created, I'd love to know. But either way, I think the film is definitely a great experience and ultimately one that I'm happy to recommend.